Oh, Leanne, where are you? Are you there?
Yes, hello. I think on LinkedIn, if anyone is watching this and can tell us if they can see us, that would be great. I think we're live. Hi, I'm so excited.
Hi.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here with you, Emily. You're like one of my favorite people in the world. This is Emily's first ever LinkedIn Live,
It
and we'll
is.
be doing this as a podcast afterwards. But as a quick intro to me, I'm Leanne. I've got a book called ADHD and A to Z that's somewhere around my house. Always loose around ADHD work. And I'm so excited to be here with Emily. So, Emily, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, Leanne. Oh, thank you. That was really sweet of you to say. Like, you're one of my favorite people in the world as well. So that works nicely, doesn't it? Um, Thank you for this time and this opportunity to chat. It's always a joy. Yeah, so I am Emily Harding. I am the director of Secret Sunrise UK. So we are a sort of global community that is all about helping people to reconnect their inner sense of play and joy. And we do that through guided dance, but it's not a silent disco, it's no choreography. It's something very inclusive and just generally very joyful. Um, as well as that, I am one of these slashies. So I'm also a yoga teacher, run the Yeah Yoga Co, which is a corporate yoga and fitness agency. And I also teach at a bunch of different studios in London and run my own online yoga platform called The Joyful Wild, which is very much making yoga fun, joyful, and accessible to people who've maybe decided it perhaps isn't for them.
True ADHD style intro there. Thank you, Emily. That was a 5,000 jobs in one. And we're like, we're doing it all, but we're here.
I know when people are like, "Oh, I've got just the one job." I'm like, "Really? How?
Yes.
Sounds nice."
When I had my law job, it was like the most relaxing time of my life because I just had to go there for the hours that I was meant to work. And obviously, me and you are running event, ADHD Works and Secret Sunrise on the weekend, which is really, really exciting. And I'm so happy to talk about it with you here today because Secret Sunrise played such a huge role in my life. After I was diagnosed with ADHD, I basically had to restart my entire social circles again, which led me because all of my friends before I was diagnosed, like all I did was go out clubbing and get drunk. So I had to basically start all over. And I found Secret Sunrise on Instagram. I was like, what the hell is that? Went to it. But it was like I could say it was a sober activity, which was really good. And I thought it would be a good place to go and meet other people that liked doing random things. And it was amazing. So I made really good friends with the person that ran that before Emily. But yeah, and I think for me that was a core moment in like developing friends that weren't just around alcohol. But
Mm.
Emily, how do you find friendships?
How do I find friendships? Do you know what? Most of my friendships in London have come through teaching yoga.
Mm,
All of my best friends now, and this is, I mean, friendships is something that's quite a big thing in my life at the moment because like I lost a lot of friendships when I sort of left my last relationships. I sort of had to strike out on my own, as it were. And all of my best friends now are people that I know through yoga, through the wellness space. Like my housemate, who is also one of my best friends, is from the world of yoga. So it's people I've met in classes. My students have become some of my best friends. People who've come on my retreats have become some of my best friends. People I've met through yoga. So then when I met Margot and then started Secret Sunrise and met you through that as well. Again, all these people have become my best friends, which is incredible. So yeah, I've definitely made really good friends through sort of like um, wholesome wellness activities. And then otherwise, it's just through sort of chance, people that I used to live with in sort of these bigger complexes, like blocks of flat community there. But outside of that, I'd really be hard pressed to say where I know people from unless I already knew them from like skiing or university and stuff like that.
yeah, thank you for sharing it. Yeah, I think especially as an adult, making friends is just so hard. I think it's something they should teach in school, like how to make friends with other human beings and relationships. Because like when I
Mm,
did that all over again, I was like, how do you even meet people? And especially I think something that will resonate with so many people, like when you get diagnosed for ADHD, you have this whole weird new lens of yourself, but no one to talk about that with. It's like a really lonely, weird experience, which is like why I'm really excited to be doing the event with you. And like a huge part of what we do at ADHD Works and like running group sessions and retreats, all of it. That I think you picked up on a really good point there of like making friends through work as well. Because I think you are a fellow workaholic to me. How does that show up for you?
How's workaholism? So yeah, I have a weird relationship with my work, and for a few years I was definitely a workaholic, and it did put strain on like my relationship at the time. And especially like when the pandemic hit, so when I was starting up all my different strands of my yoga businesses, I was people think, oh, becoming a yoga teacher is lovely, you get to relax all day and do lots of yoga. And I think there are a lot of people who've got the balance right and do have a lovely relaxing time, but the harsh reality of it is mostly in London, it is so much work to set up and with the admin and everything. And I was working like crazy hour days in the pandemic. I was doing like 16-hour days on the regular, like, and it was just so intense, just to keep afloat. And then everyone in the house that I was living in is on furlough, and I'm like, how is this fair? It is one of those things. But yeah, I would actually say that the workaholism definitely sort of becoming defined by my work and it being a big part of my identity led to me having quite severe burnout, which I'm still sort of really recovering from. So now I actually really struggle to focus and get things done. And I yeah, it's really tricky. So the problem I think is with making your hobbies your passion is then sometimes it does, or sorry, making your passions and your hobbies your work, is that on one hand it allows you to really find joy in your work, but on the other hand, sometimes when you then go back to that thing as a release from that, you find yourself really dragging your heels and not really wanting to involve yourself in it. So I would say, for me, I do much less sort of physical yoga than I probably used to before I became a teacher. And like my obsession, my passion now for workouts. Well, yoga isn't a workout, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole. It's like I'll go to F45 and then I find myself being there like, oh, I'd love to open an F45. That'd be really awesome. Then I have to be like, no, keep some things for yourself. Stop trying to make everything you like a part of ways that you earn money. And I don't know if it's that sort of long-term issue in just feeling a bit bogged down by the difficult bits and the boring bits, and so always wanting to make your work fun and sort of bringing in then the things that you enjoy, because I think just the nature of sort of finding it difficult to focus can be that then you look for other ways to make that easier, and then you end up taking more and more on your plate because it inspires you and you've got the passion for it, and then you end up sort of under this exhausting weight of all of the things that make you excited, but you can't juggle them all at once.
I think you've just described ADHD for us there, Emily. Thank you.
I,
ADHD.
I think maybe I should look into just accepting that perhaps I have a lot, maybe ADHD, when perhaps I just didn't realize and just thought I was terrible at focusing.
That's pretty much what most people end up how we get diagnosed. And like actually, so it's really, really common that adults are diagnosed with ADHD after burning out in exactly the way you just described, because we just think it's normal to put in like 250% all the time and to take on everything and like not to say no to anything, but just see opportunities, be like, I'll do that. Okay, fine. I will set up a new shop in this place. Well, yes. And then suddenly we're like overwhelmed by all of the things we've taken on, realizing at the time. And it's only when we crash and burn and then realize it's not normal to live your life like that. We're like, really? Like, but this is just what I've always done. So then it becomes a really overwhelming experience to go through.
I think culturally as well, definitely in like London culture and society, the ways in which we're talking about showing up to our professional careers and the work that we do is kind of almost celebrated by people because they see all the things you're doing, and then you get those messages from friends, acquaintances, they go, oh my god, you're smashing it, like I've been seeing what you're doing and like you're doing so well. And so when you get that sort of praise for smashing it, whatever it is that is, you sort of think to yourself, you go, oh, well, the way that I'm currently operating and working and giving 250%, as you say, must be the norm because I see a lot of other people who seem to be really successful and smashing it. So you kind of equate the two together and go, oh, well, they must be doing exactly what I'm doing, and this is normal, and this behavior is normal. And actually, I need to keep going like this to be able to stay successful and to be able to, achieve my goals in my business and whatever it is, whatever reason you're in business for. So I think sometimes it can be sort of compounded by that social validation.
Yes. I think you pick up on a really good, important point here as well, which is like other people. Like that's personally something I've really struggled with since becoming self-employed, and especially being an ADHD coach. Like when I first became one, I was so embarrassed to tell anyone what I did for work. And now every single person I meet is like, I think I've got ADHD. My friend's got ADHD. Blah, blah, blah. Like I just get messages nonstop. And I think human beings are not designed to get 100 emails and texts a day from people. And like that's what, yeah, especially for me, it's like really difficult to separate. Like I've really struggled with relaxing and just hanging out with people without being like ADHD, work, coaching, blah, 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 and just being able to
Mm.
like relax, which kind of brings us around really nicely to Secret Sunrise, because I think that's a healthy combination of work. And like I was talking to my coach this morning and they said, why did you set up the event? And I was like, well, I actually really enjoy it, like going to Secret Sunrise. I was like, so
Mm.
it would be a good time. It's a good thing to do. But yeah, and then with the friendships and like, you know, now we're connected to so many people on the internet, and like social media just shows us all the highlights of like everyone is smashing it, woohoo. And like you know, yesterday I did a talk in Manchester and I didn't really realize it until I wrote it out, which I don't usually do. I wrote it out on Instagram my week and I was like, oh, that is not a normal amount of things to be doing. Like I went
Mm.
to Manchester, back from Manchester, did a talk, had like another company talk in the morning, had like a call with social media people in the morning, like, and I was like, oh, this is. By the time I got home, I was just like wiped out completely. And today I've been like on
Mm.
and like so it really takes a toll. But Secret Sunrise is one of these activities that's like relaxing work. It's a really really
Mm.
to do.
It is definitely, and I'm completely with you on that in terms of, when we're running it, when we're facilitating it, it doesn't feel like work. It's not work. It's so joyful in just for yourself and for what you're giving back to that community, for the places that it takes other people, and to be able to see that you facilitated and helped guide someone into that emotional release, that joy, that connection back to themselves. Like you see, like all emotions of the human experience, like in a Secret Sunrise. It's so beautiful, um and inspiring, and I'm inspired by other people when I'm in it. So it is, and when I'm in it, I love doing it, and it's the best thing in the world, and I wish I could do it every single day. Like I wish we had a booking on where I could leave all of the focusy work to the people who can focus better than me, and leave all of the emails and the bookings, and I'll be like, I'm just here to do this important work in person, um, in what Secret Sunrise gives to people in terms of uplifting them. So yeah, it is a really beautiful thing, and I think, yeah, I'm really excited for us to be doing this event on Saturday. It's always such a joy to facilitate with you. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm just
I mean,
really glad we're doing it.
I was like, I'll become a Secret Sunrise facilitator. But I think you did a really good job of explaining it. But can you take, for someone that's never been to one, can you take through like what happens, like the journey of it? I hope you understand.
Mm.
But it's like,
No, I totally get it. Yeah, because it's quite a hard one to explain, right? So for those of you who are listening in and you're like, what the hell are these two talking about? What is a Secret Sunrise? So Secret Sunrise, the name itself kind of came originally when this started in South Africa, and when it was these secret dance parties. The location was only given a day before, so that it kept it quite fresh and fun. And it was these dance parties done at sunrise, and obviously in South Africa they've got much nicer weather than us in the UK, so it's kind of a little bit easy to start a community around that. So ours tend to be a little bit later in the day, normally somewhere inside until we hit the gorgeous summer months. But a secret sunrise session, in essence, is where you are given a pair of what look like silent disco headphones. And then for the next 30, 40, 60 minutes, you are taken by a facilitator through what I like to describe as an imagination journey. So, this imagination journey takes all of the sort of mindfulness, like the helpful mindfulness and intention setting from the world of yoga. Lots of inspiration is given. It's often around a theme, and we're always looking to get people to think in new ways, to bring something out of you that might have been laying dormant, or get you to question things about yourself or the ways that you're living your life. But we do that through the power of joyful dance. And it's not ecstatic dance, where there's just crazy music for 2 hours solid and no instructions given and it's silent and you can't touch anyone. It's very different to that. We almost create these really tight parameters in what we say. And it's in holding that sort of enclosed space for you that gives you the ability to become incredibly free and creative within those parameters. So it's being like really super specific and niche and almost weird in instructions that we'll give. So it's always like taking you on an imagination journey. So it starts quite softly. And then we kind of warm the body up, wake the mind up, wake ourselves up through smaller movements and then bigger things. And it really is an imagination journey. And I keep coming back to that phrase. So it'll be things like, we're creating like a rock band together, or we're going like flying through a spaceship in the sky on this like really specific mission to create world peace. Or, you're like a jellyfish in the sea. Or I think we had one very recently where you were pancake sizzling in a pan.
Mhm.
And it's these every session is completely unique and bespoke and different, never the same soundtrack, never the same people there, always different. So it's something that is really good, that people can never get bored of, because you're never going to know what you're going to get. And it really just gets you to a point where you are so in touch with your own body, you're so in the moment that you're able to finally let all the weight and the crap of everything else you've been holding on to drop away and actually be authentically yourself. And for a lot of people, that's really difficult, to allow themselves to be authentically seen of themselves in front of other people, especially other people they don't know. That is terrifying. But then when you're suddenly looking around a room and there's 30 other people who are like laying on the floor and like pretending that they've got tentacles and like rolling across the ground, and you look around and you go, wow, everyone else here is such a super weirdo, and I can be a super weirdo too. And I think everyone is a super weirdo. So it's just really about getting people to that place. And then we have, a lot of human connection as well. So it does get really powerful. And I always say a good secret sunrise is the one where people have been crying at the end, because then that something happened. You were able to guide people to a place where they felt safe and comfortable enough to connect with themselves and with other people. And at the end of the day, that is what this world needs more of. It is authentic connection between humans when we're vulnerable, learning how to trust one another and learning how to trust ourselves.
I love it. As you're talking, I was like, ADHD, like, because with ADHD, like, there are a lot of challenges, like you just described, with like focus and admin and like booking, and I think you said earlier, really good, like the ideal working thing for a person with ADHD is like a place where you can just do the thing you're good at and like let other people help you with the other bits, like that itself, to like trust and even be able to know what to delegate. But you can like get in that zone where you can access these like core qualities which have been scientifically proven to be linked with ADHD, which are things like creativity, curiosity, connection, compassion with other people, like emotions. Like, we're really deep people, and have often gone through so much in our lives that like it's quite hard to process. Like, it's like, well, I don't know what to do with that. Don't know what to put. Or like therapy is really hard for people with ADHD, often because we're like, we're just going to talk. And I was just coaching someone earlier today. I go to music therapy, and it really helps me, because it's like getting those qualities, like play, which isn't, as an adult, I was saying how crazy it is. Like, as kids, we, would have like acting lessons or drama lessons or whatever, music lessons, but we'd never like, most people I know wouldn't pay to go to like a piano lesson, like out of the blue. Like they wouldn't pay money for them to do these things. But it's such a crucial part of like just allowing ourselves to enjoy our lives, and like especially there where you said like allow you to be authentically yourself, like especially if people with ADHD, it's so hard to even like know who that is, and especially if you've lived your whole life like masking these parts of yourself which are really weird and curious and brilliant, and like all of our wonderful like ideas and expressions of like what is
Mm.
internally on the outside can be really like a difficult thing to learn how to do, especially as an adult. You know, I don't want to bring it. We've worked really hard to shut that away in a box. I'm not opening that box up, but that's what I really love about Secret Sunrise. I think it's really helped me to deal with these qualities myself. Like, for anyone listening that is not has heard Emily talk and is like, that sounds horrific. Like, I am really not a good dancer or a creative in drama classes in school. Like, I just remember in class, they're like pretend to be a monkey and everyone could do it. And I was like, how are they all doing that? I was like, no, we're going to stand by this wall and hope that no one sees us. Like, I am not doing anything like that. Nope, I'm not moving at all. But then the part of Secret Sunrise is you kind of like manipulate people into doing, like in a very like wholesome way, but you like do it I did one at the Law Society when I worked there, and like, okay, all very serious people that have serious jobs, but like by breaking them open like in little tiny bits, which I think connects really nicely with coaching, is like kind of like smashing up a tiny little bit, like getting to the core where you're just like, don't even look at anyone, just close your eyes, and like you don't have to look at anyone at all, and then you feel a bit more comfortable. You might like bang an elbow with someone, like do elbow bumps, and then suddenly you're like kicking the air and you're like, oh, how have I done this? And yeah, like on the ADHD retreat, it was so amazing. I did like a Rage Against the Machine song on the beach and got everyone like head banging and being like, ah, like, we're not gonna do what you tell me to do. And like, it's just so nice to like give people that opportunity to basically be themselves and be like the kid version of themselves. That, like, for a lot of especially adults with ADHD, but adults in general, we just didn't get the opportunity to be. And I love that come as well. It's just like, why shouldn't kids come? Like, why do we have these spaces that are like, you must go to a dance class and dance in these very specific movements? And like, I can't dance, so I can't remember any movements as well. So they always leave me feeling quite bad about myself. But Secret Sunrise is like, always leaves me feeling so good about myself and like humanity in general. You're like, there are other people out there that are as weird as me, and they will pretend to be a pancake on the floor, and like they didn't think that was weird. And other people that aren't doing it, because we're all like, I remember we're all dancing around like Notting Hill, like on the road, and like the people walking past were all wanting to come and join us. Yeah, it's one of my like favorite bits. What has been your favorite one you've ever done?
My favorite one I've ever done. Oh, actually, there is one that stands out. Every public session we do is epic. We did one at Wanderlust Festival, which was like 400 or 500 people dancing around in the rain. Like, we opened up on the main stage in Battersea Park, and it was like super magical, so crazy, like so awesome to see it on those sorts of numbers and scales in like a festival setting. But I think my favorite one ever was, so we did quite a lot of corporate sessions as well. And Tesco have like booked us several times to go to their headquarters, and we've done dances with like all the like C-suite of Tesco, like loads of different departments. And there was one particular time last year where they got us back, and I think we had 120 accountants. Not typically the most out there profession. I think, if we're going to stereotype, hello, all accountant friends out there, we know that you are creative, really. So, people who don't consider themselves to be creative. And at the end, we had like everyone, it's kind of like amphitheater that they've got there in their headquarters. And we had everyone like on the sides of it, like pretending to be like in this world's biggest rock band, playing all these crazy different instruments. Like, no one was doing the same thing. Like rocking out, I think we were listening to like Bryan Adams' Summer of '69 or something. And I was at the bottom, like conducting this like 120 accountants who'd just gone absolutely nuts. They loved it. And I nearly started crying because I was like, wow, I thought this group was just going to be so difficult to inspire something in. And it was like they were just desperate for what was given. Yeah. And at the end, the amount of people that came up to me and were like so sweaty and so surprised, they're like, I thought I was gonna despise this, and I've had the best time. Thank you so much. And I was just like, I came away, I think I had a little cry. I was like, oh my God, I've done it. I've unlocked a countenance. It's going well.
It's so, it's like so amazing, because I think you specifically are really good at that, like your yoga classes as well. Like you do something which I think, not to give you ADHD, but it's like we find ways to take problems and turn them into like opportunities. Like, so I just always think of you because you, like, for example, yoga, I never would, as a model, I was under a lot of pressure to lose weight, and I never would have done yoga because I was like, it doesn't burn any calories. What's the point? I need to go to spinning class, which I hated. But then, like, you used to do these classes, I probably still do them, but they are like kind of big fitness yoga. Like, you kind of marketed them as like, come and get a toned stomach. But then, like, in them, you're like, love your tummy. Like, it's all about like connecting to your body, and you kind of hook people in on these like problematic messages, and then you give them something like that they weren't expecting, like, but they needed, that like kindness and self-compassion, and like these are all the things we're looking for when we're, you know, on these journey of like, oh, I need to lose weight, or I need to be like this, or I need to be a certain way. But actually all we're looking for is like a little bit of kindness to ourselves, and I think you do that in like such an amazing way.
Oh, thank you so much, Leanne. Like, it's so nice to hear that landed so well with you and that you still remember that.
Of course.
Yeah, I haven't taught any of those for a while, but yeah, there was a time, especially in the pandemic, where I think I was sort of doing like a kind of like a yeah, inviting people in on the things I knew they were going to read, and like, the diet culture messaging. I'm like, come and get a strong core in yoga, and people are like, yeah, great, I'm coming in for a strong core. And get them and be like, okay, so why are you actually here? Are you trying to get flat abs? Like, what is that actually doing for you in your life? Why do you think that's, and going into this whole self-compassion and really asking people to think about what they're doing. And like, if we put as much time and effort as we did into getting flat abs into our mental health, or into helping people in our community, or even just like reaching out and like spending time with friends and family, we'd probably all be a lot happier, and the world would be a much better place. If we spent even a modicum of the time that we spend obsessed with the way we look on things that actually matter.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Like, it's just
So,
like back against capitalism.
oh yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot recently. It's coming into all my classes in public spaces. I'm like, if you're tired and you feel like you're really overwhelmed and everything is too much, it's not you. It's our sick society that we live in. It's capitalism. And I can see people on the floor being like, okay, I am having a nice time relaxing. I wish she wasn't saying capitalism, but I'm gonna let it just sink in.
I think it's like, that's something that I try to do a lot of the ADHD stuff, is like, you're not broken. Like, it's just not normal for us to be like in environments where, for example, like coaching kids in the pandemic, I was like, you're looking at the screen for 12 hours a day and being expected to concentrate and then do exams and then do homework and then go and watch another screen to relax and then look at your phone to have a break. Like, they're just not like normal environments, and we're being touted. Like, I wrote this book last year called The Reality Manifesto. Like, it's not normal for us to be pelted like constantly with adverts, and we don't even know that we're being advertised to. But like, this is a huge thing I see and try to talk about with ADHD on social media, because it, like, social media is a great place to learn more about ADHD and like find out things that you maybe didn't know. But like for me, I definitely wouldn't be here talking to you now if we didn't have social media, literally. But it can also be, it is used by people to manipulate you into buying stuff. Like, that is the core aim of it. And like, TikTok has just been banned off government phones here in the UK. Like, not because it collects any more data than other ones, but I think like the algorithms are so dangerous because they can control your behavior. Like, the amount, if they see that you watch a video for 3 seconds about a dog, but a video about a cat for 4 seconds, they'll show you more videos of cats. And like, fundamentally, like, if you're feeling happy and fulfilled from watching that video, you're not going to stay swiping on the app. Like, they need to keep you hooked. So like, igniting emotions in you that are like anger or like frustration, and like so you keep swiping to find out more and more and more, and like at the end we're feeling horrible about ourselves, but we don't even really realize why. I know that's a big focus of yours as well. Tell me what you've been up to with this lately. What's on your mind with it?
What's on my mind?
Like capitalism in general.
Oh, wow, that's such a big question. What's on my mind with capitalism? The things that are on my mind are, I tell you, yes, I know exactly what's on my mind because I got really upset about it the other day, actually. In terms of what you were just saying about advertising, I am getting absolutely effed off when people advertise cosmetic surgery to me. And I don't think that this is acceptable. And I actually really want to do something about this in the UK. And if it spreads elsewhere, great. Because advertising to someone, and these deals are always quite cheap and actually sort of affordable to, not say affordable. I mean,
You know what your affordable range is.
Yeah, if you've got some disposable income, yeah, it's so it's really, I think it's bad. Like, people know plastic surgery exists, right? You'd have to have literally been living under a rock to not know that. So if you want plastic surgery, you can go and search it out. In the same way that if you want to smoke, you can go and search out cigarettes. You can go to the shop, you can find them. You want to find plastic surgery, you can Google it, you can find it. I'm not against people having cosmetic surgery. If you want to do it, great. If that makes you feel better about yourself, absolutely. We're not here to yuck anyone's yum, but I don't think that it's okay that it is promoted to people, that it's allowed to be advertised and pushed and promoted on people, because that is incredibly toxic, like, socially and literally figuratively, as it were. Because you could be quite happy in how you look, and if it's always being rammed down your throat, get some lip filler injections free when you come and get this, or get this Botox, or this nose job, this tummy tuck, these teeth doing. And when you're constantly bombarded with this and you can't get away from it, it's always going to be, it's going to create a narrative inside your head, like, well, maybe you do need these things, and actually they're quite affordable. Why don't you look into that? And okay, well, and then it just takes you on this real spiral of just not feeling good enough in yourself. Your self-esteem starts to plummet, and the more and more people who have all of these things as well, the more that becomes the norm. And then the more also you might start to feel ostracized if you don't look that way. There is like the Instagram face now where you could probably put like 10 girls in a lineup and not remember what looked different between any of them. It's got to that point. And and it's not just about, body confidence. I had one follower who very sweetly was happy to share with me that, she wasn't appreciating these messages that she was getting, in terms of it pushing down her throat. Oh, come and get a tummy tuck to get back to, like, your post, your pre-mum bod, or, you need a boob lift or whatever it was. And she'd actually lost children. So for her, she was like, well, actually, I'm really happy to have been through this in my body, and I don't want to change it. And it was incredibly painful for her to see this, these adverts, and there's no way of regulating these, or I say there's no way. I mean, it doesn't seem that there's any regulation from a consumer point of view. If there is, Lord knows it needs to be tightened up. But it's also, on billboards as well, on the tube, and so then kids are looking at it. And if you're growing up as a young girl in the UK, or a young boy, and you're seeing all of these adverts, and it's just part of your upbringing, and it goes into your consciousness, and that's something that you're always thinking about. How are we ever going to get away from this? So I truly believe my big beef at the moment is, in the same way as cigarettes, cosmetic surgery should not be allowed to be promoted. It shouldn't be allowed to be advertised. If you want to find it, you can, but the risks it carries is crazy high, and they still don't really know, I think, the long-term effects of stuff like Botox.
Yeah. That's pretty much where I wrote the reality manifesting. Like, for me, modeling from like the age of 13, my first job was in Vogue as a women's wear campaign. And it was only the older I got that I realized, like I grew up looking at pictures of myself in magazines that I was like, I don't look like that. I could. Like that, I don't. And then for me now to work with kids, I see them growing up in this world where you can do, like, I would have hair and makeup done for hours and stuff, and all of this stuff, and then the Photoshop, and then the magazine. But these kids, all of us can have it happen like in seconds. So like my phone will often tell me how I could look better. I'm like, I don't want to hear. But like I really equate it to modeling. When I moved to London, I was scouted by someone in the shop, and they were like, come and meet us. I said, oh, I don't want to. Don't want to do modeling is a boring, annoying job. And they said, oh, just come. It's like, okay, fine. And then they told me that I had to lose 3 inches off my hips to join them. And I was like, I don't even want to do this job. But it's like, if someone tells you like, oh, you should look different, then you can join this magic club. You're like, I don't even want to, but like, if you're telling me, then maybe I should look at it. And there was a woman I talked to when I was writing that book, and she went to a like some kind of surgery salon place with her friend who was getting like lip filler or something, and she was just waiting for her. And they said, "Oh, should we give you a free like consultation while you wait?" She's like, "Okay." And they took a photo of her and they put red lines around all of the area. They like got her face up on the screen and like blasted at her and said they put red circles around all of the areas that she should change and get surgery on. She was like, I didn't even know what jowls were, which are like the these problems. Who knew that could be a problem? But like they gave her all these problems, and then they're like, and now you should have all this stuff. And she booked all this surgery, and it's like, of course, if you rip people down and you tell them they should be different to how they're looking, like, of course they're going to start hating themselves. And that was really what I wanted to do with that book, because like I grew up in that world, and it's really badly affected me. It really made me very disconnected from my body and myself and my emotions. And now I see all these other people growing up in that world thinking it's normal, and God knows what it's doing to them. But like, again, that's why it's so nice to do like something like Secret Sunrise, because I think we forget, like for me, when I left modeling, I was like, right, I don't want to do any exercise ever again, because I had a decade of being forced to lose weight and being measured every week. And like, I was like, I never want to do any exercise to lose weight or to look a certain way. So finding Secret Sunrise was so amazing, because it was like fun, and it's like using your body in like a fun way and connecting with your body and yourself, and not like thinking, oh, I can see my legs and they look really fat, but like actually just enjoying your body, which is all it's there for. Like it's working so hard to keep us all alive at the same time. And I think again with the ADHD, like body image issues and eating disorders are so high for people with ADHD. And I think it is like that sense of like we are chasing dopamine and control and trying to control things that we think we should be able to control. And especially when you're given like numbers. I read this thing that said like the numbers on the scale have been replaced by the numbers on like social media now, which really resonated for me. But like, because we've got these numbers, we're like, oh, okay, I should be able to lose like 5 kilograms and then I'll be okay. Or like once I get 50 new followers, then I'll get this level of success. But like actually all you need to do is like disconnect from this stuff and connect to yourself. And with you, Emily, we smashed your scales in lockdown.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was really good. It's definitely yeah, it's awesome not having scales in the house anymore. And you know what? I have weighed myself since then, and it never brings me any joy. Like, it's again, it's if something's right in front of you, it's so enticing, It's like, oh, you see everyone else weighing themselves and changing. We're like, maybe I should weigh myself. Maybe I should know. It doesn't change my life knowing or not knowing. It's not really, and it's just, it just becomes another number that you keep a track of to in some way either celebrate yourself or commiserate yourself or berate rather, sorry. And I think, you know, to loop back to the like whole plastic surgery advertisements thing, I think it's just about safeguarding members of society who are more susceptible to that, and the younger generation, and also just anyone when having a bad day. Most people, a lot of people have the conscious awareness to say, actually, no, I know that's not true. I know I'm good. I don't need this. Thank you very much. But, if you're having a wobble and someone gets you on a real vulnerable day, and that's what advertising will do, it'll get you on the daily until you say yes. Then, it starts to take root. So yeah, I really love what you said about enjoy your body. And that for me is why I also dance and work out. And, my yoga practice these days is incredibly soft and gentle. I went through, the obsession with like rocket yoga and power yoga. Don't get me wrong. I love to go occasionally to those classes. I love to still teach those classes occasionally and, get people celebrating their bodies in that way. But for me, my movement practices, they need to bring me joy. They need to nourish me. If I'm feeling like so effed up at the end of one and it's like throwing my nervous system all out of kilter, then what good is it really doing me? I'm yeah, so it's so yeah, enjoying your body, and I think that is what for me Secret Sunrise is. It's in enjoying our body, and um yeah, I think in this world that's a really important thing. And a lot of people write like, so enjoying your body is definitely, I'm gonna touch into the world of sex here. A lot of people enjoy their body through sex, which is awesome, and I think that is a way that people really connect to themselves or closely to partners. But then, if we take body enjoyment out of the sexual world, how are you enjoying your body outside of that? So it's like, it's not a competition, it's not a sport, it is just that pure enjoyment of, it's a celebration of being alive. And I'm so jazzed up now about Saturday. I'm ready. I'm like, let's go.
Don't know if anyone's out there, but I hope you are too. Yeah.
So jazzed up for Saturday.
Because I think these things connect so much of ADHD, because it's like if we're in our heads and not present and constantly like, oh, I try to do yoga every day to like, I feel like it's like a towel wringing out all my thoughts in the morning, and by the end of it, I do feel vaguely okay. In the morning, like brain on fire. But I'm not present. I'm just like moving my body and not even realizing what I'm doing. And like the same thing, like if we're in our heads all the time, like thinking about all the things that are wrong with us or the world, or all these, actually I had thing I wanted to mention it, like with ADHD, I found all these adverts on TikTok that were by pharmaceutical companies basically linking ADHD to like obesity. I think there is a higher risk of like obesity if you've got ADHD, because it makes us more susceptible to sugar. Live on chocolate. But basically highlight, and that's what is really interesting about like social media, is because it takes the truth and then it twists it, and it's like, but look, that's the proof. Like, you should probably go and get diagnosed with ADHD. Otherwise, you're going to be fat. And they're like, oh, okay. And there were these adverts that got took down. Like, they took those adverts down from TikTok. But there's like billions of like, they're uploaded every second. Like, it's just do it in a different way. Give it to this person. Like, ask them to post a video about this. Like, I went on it. I try not to go on TikTok, but I went on it and saw this girl talking about her ADHD medication, and she was like, first of all, like, I didn't really realize on it, but that it applies a filter to your face without you even realizing. Like, in the beginning, I was like, how are these children so beautiful? Like, I didn't look like that when I was 10. Fuck. Like this beautiful little person was talking about the ADHD medication, and they were like, it's helped me focus so much. I find that I don't scroll on my phone anymore, and it's just so magical and blah, blah. And I was like, that is so dangerous. Like, because, in the UK, we're not allowed to advertise medication. Whereas in America, when I went on holiday, I was so shocked to see that advert. So we're like, you want to focus better? Take this tablet. It's like, no, it's not. Nope, that's not ADHD. Like, it's not just not being able to concentrate. And there's so much more to it. And I think that's what happens on social media, where they really take out like the facts or the details and the context and like use it to sell something. Or like, there's always a point to everything we see on the internet, which is what I think is often missed. Like, even if someone's just posting a photo of their lunch, they're doing it for a reason, whether they're trying to sell you something or they're just trying to make themselves feel better about their life and their lunch that day. There's always like a reason, and like when we're the viewer, we just attach our own meaning to whatever we're seeing, not realizing like that we're making up these stories in our head. And kind of lost the train of thought I was on, but basically, Secret Sunrise.
It happens.
That's the end of the yoga. Yeah. Oh yeah, I was going to ask you about yoga. Like, well, in general, exercise for people, because I know for me, the only way that I can exercise is by doing fun stuff like Secret Sunrise, and there's another one called No Lights, No Lycra, which is dancing in the dark, which is so fun. But it's harder for me to do these things than like work, because like it's fun, and like I live in the world where it's like, work, don't have fun, there's emails to reply to. But especially like if I go in the morning, the only way I can get myself there is like sleeping in my gym clothes, or like sometimes I'd go to the gym in my pajamas, which is like, get to the gym, get to the yoga class, it'll make you feel better. But I was wondering if you've got any advice or tips for people that have ADHD, or in general like struggle to exercise without I think that is what is really challenging for people, because they're like, oh, they associate exercise or the gym or all of this stuff with like looking a certain way, and that's our like go-to thing that we've had in our society conditioned into us. People get themselves in a headspace where they're doing it to have a nice time, like for the enjoyment of it.
I would say, yeah. So my advice would be to anyone who's struggling, with ADHD or with the motivation to go and work out. Like I myself really struggle with it. Like, don't get me wrong, I love working out. I love fitness. I love yoga. And the thing I actually find easiest to go to is things where I've had to book on and I'm going to lose money or get fined if I don't show up. So if I want to get up early, the only way I'm going to get up and go is if I have something I'm going to get fined 15 or 20 quid if I don't turn up. And I find it really, really helpful because then I'm like, I am getting my ass out of bed and I am going. So my personal preference is F45. I'm obsessed. I love it. It's so good because you don't have to think about what you're doing. You turn up, you are so tired and you're like, okay, 20 pods. Okay, do that. And it's literally on the TV. You can't get it wrong. It's like right there. And you're like, great. Just like sleepwalk around if you're just still asleep. And so for me, I need like minimum effort for like maximum output. So I love F45. I love going spinning, like get on the bike, music wakes you up, love it. If I'm gonna go to yoga, I so rarely will roll my mat out in the morning. I'm an evening yoga girl. I struggle in the morning, because then I'm always like that. I work best in the morning. So it's like this trade-off for me. I'm like, I know I will get a heap of work done from 8 till 12. But society's like, oh, do yoga in the morning. And some people work, doesn't work for others. But for what I'm doing for my yoga, I much prefer to do in the evening to wind down, because otherwise in the morning I'm like, oh, I need to be at work right now. I need to be on my laptop. Help. But in the evening I'm like, yeah, it's done. I am in yin. I am, reading, I'm breathing, I'm doing whatever I want to do. So for me, I love going to F45, and I would say find a community. Like, find an account. I like to call, if you have a friend to take with you, an accountability buddy. Find an accountability buddy. Meet someone where you're going, so then it's not just about you. Like, do it together. I love working out with friends. I'm always taking people to F45 with me. I'm like, what are you doing on Saturday? Come with me. Let's go together. It's fun. There's a DJ. It's like a party. Like dance your way around and have a really good time. And so you just got to find stuff that you like. And unfortunately, it's different for everyone. So I can't just be like, oh, yeah, you'll like that too. So you've got to spend a bit of time trying to find what works for you. But, it might be you really like meeting up for like a local running crew that's free, or, going with a friend for a walk. It doesn't have to be huge. Start small. If you struggle to get up and do stuff in the morning, arrange to meet a friend at a coffee shop, grab a coffee, and then go for a half-hour walk. Or, sign on to a class together. And there's so many different things. If we live in London, we're lucky, there's heaps of stuff. If you don't live in London, again, there is still always gyms, there's gym classes, or again, like I said, just meet your friend, do something, meet up, go for a bike ride, or text each other and say, okay, we're both going to do this yoga video on YouTube at 7:30, and like text each other, are you awake? Yes, I'm awake. Okay. Like in the pandemic, I used to WhatsApp video call people while we did a workout and be like, oh yeah, we're all doing it together. And it was quite a good, like weird accountability thing. So yeah, those would be my top tips. If you need to do something, plan it into your day, prioritize it, and force yourself to do it. Just like make the decision. So for me tonight, I'm now, it's coming up to like 5 o'clock. I'm like, oh, should I go to yoga? Should I do my own yoga? Should I go for a run? Should I go for a swim? Should I just stay at home because I'm tired? And I'm like, because I haven't made a decision, it's just too much. If I booked myself into something, or whatever it is, then it's done, and then you can focus on that, and you're like, right, that's what's happening. Good. Yeah, because I think the whole word, the decision, comes from, I think I was reading it the other day, it comes from like the Latin of like meaning to cut off. So once you make a decision, you cut off all the other branches and possibilities, and you're on this one focused route. And I thought that was really lovely. It's like, rather than making a decision, you're like cutting off all the chaotic bits that are stopping you from doing what you want.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, it resonates so much what we say for ADHD. Like, not to make everything in the world about ADHD, but like something really common people with ADHD experience, like decision paralysis, like you just said, where it's like, well, I could do anything, so how do I choose what to do? I could do anything. And like, that's why for me, I think again, it's like having a routine that works for you at that time, and like little things. Like some days I don't go outside, but I do walk down my stairs to get here. I'm like, that's okay. I walk down the stairs, got out of bed,
No.
well done me. And like tomorrow's a new day. But it's like not beating ourselves up and being like, oh, I'm a failure. I'm not going to go to this gym anymore. Like whatever. I'm never going to go outside again. Like, but just restarting. And like for me personally, I know that I go through phases where like things are sparkly and I'm like, oh, I love this trapeze class. And then I'll get to a stage where I'm like, no, I'm bored of it and I don't want to do it anymore. And instead of beating myself up and being like, but you've spent so much money on this trapeze class, I'm like, okay, what should we do instead? Like, new hobby, roll up, we're ready for a new hobby here. And actually just like adapting to the way my brain is working in that moment, but giving it the like framework that you said, like there of like, okay, we're gonna do this, and creating a new routine where like I just take the decisions out of it and plan it ahead. I think is really important. I love what you said about branches because I'm like, that's so true. That's because it's like, how do you make a decision? Like, how you could do anything. So, but a good place to start when I'm coaching people on it is I'm like, well, what don't you want? If you don't know what you do want, like people usually know what they don't want to do and how they don't want to feel. So start there. Work your way backwards. And I think that what you said as well about finding that community is just like key, because it's like other people and human connection that make us happy, really, at the end of the day. That's the nice thing about it.
Definitely. It's all about the human connection. And yeah, decision and paralysis is so tough. I literally had that earlier. I stood in the kitchen. I was like, I'm experiencing, like, I can name it. I'm like, I'm experiencing decision paralysis. Like, I am so stuck right now. Like, I know I've got all this work to do. And then I didn't know what I was really doing. I couldn't decide what I was doing. And then I ended up cooking like 2 trays of chicken and putting it in a massive Tupperware in the fridge. And that was why I did my decision paralysis. I was like, was this helpful? I was like, I think I'm saving time somewhere, but this wasn't on the list for today, but never mind.
That was a good,
yeah.
No, someone with ADHD. It's like, I didn't actually mean to make this clay pot, but
I've made it.
Okay.
I would say, because I recognize these struggles in my life as well. So like, that's what I then bring into my business. So like with my yoga platform, The Joyful World, which I'm actually going to Bali very soon to overhaul and redo and reset it up, because I left it dormant after I went through some sort of personal trauma last year. And in it, because I recognize that when I go to do yoga videos online, I'm so crippled by the decision paralysis. I'll just end up not doing anything. I'm like, oh, there's too many things I don't want to do. I've given up now. The moment's gone. So I want to make for other people ways to like eradicate that. So, like a calendar for someone to follow, or a set course, being like, how are you feeling today? Okay, well, if you're interested in this, why don't you try this? And it's a 10-part course, and just come to it every day. And, just like setting yourself on it and having these small little manageable steps to take. I recognize, like, I wish someone was doing that, and someone that, I resonate with. Because I would then follow that and be like, yeah, great. But I struggle to find those things. So I want to make it, and I think a lot of the time, those of us who, have all of these different strings to our bows, we go, oh, well, I find this really hard in the world. So I want to make a solution to that and put that out there, which is great. And then we end up under crippling weight of all the things we've taken on.
Like, people often ask me, like, how I do my business, and I'm like, I just do stuff that I want to do. Like, I needed friends, so I made a course. Like, people were like, oh, you should find other ADHD coaches, like a support network, and I was like, well, I can't find any of them, so I'll just make a course and train them up. And it's like, just actually, like the same with the courses, I was like, well, I can't do online courses, but if someone sent me 5 minutes a day, then I would have the like novelty of it, and like I'd know there's an end point, the same thing, and like that's what someone actually said. It was like a HR person in the police force, but they said, this guy, he was saying that Steve Jobs, that created the iPhone, like he was dyslexic, I think, but like anyone can use the iPhone, because like he struggles with like communications and being dyslexic, so he made something that anybody can use. And that's again what like neurodiversity in business and stuff, and like people can get scared of doing things in new ways. But I'm like, actually, the new ways help everyone. It's not like just this one person. It's actually like a really common thing I do with people in workplaces is like use briefing documents for work, where they actually set out like, what is expected of me? What are the deliverables? Like, just get quite specific about the instructions of what you want, and like plan it in the calendar in advance. Like, if I'm going to be working with these 3 people, like, let's plan out a catch up at this time, and then like know what we're doing. And it's like, why don't people do that already? It's like common sense. Is like these things don't help one person, they literally help everybody to work in the best ways, whether they've got ADHD or not. Like, they're just really common sense, which is quite amazing to do in the work we do, because it's like, it's just improving what is already there. But if you can make it work for someone that's like neurodivergent, then you can make it work. Like, if they can use it, then anyone. Like, that's with the ADHD coaching, I'll get people message me and be like, oh, like, can I apply this coaching to other people? I'm like, if you can coach someone with ADHD, you can literally coach anybody. Like, everyone else is very easy. Like, because they can concentrate, they're not walking around their house whilst talking to you. Like, they are easy to coach. They're there. They're remembering the time. They're not on. They're good. They're perfect students of coaching. Like, yeah, I love it. So, a final takeaway. Oh, actually, yeah, a final takeaway of like, Emily, if there's someone like watching it and they're like, oh, that event sounds fun on Saturday, kind of like, maybe that sounds kind of fun, a bit scary, but maybe I'm convinced. But they're like, I don't want to go by myself, and that seems like, and like, maybe it's just easier to stay at home in bed. What would you tell them?
So yeah, to anyone who's maybe thinking about coming but is worried about coming on their own, I would say, please, please, please. I know it's scary, but please dig deep and just bring yourself down to the event. Grab a ticket, commit to it. You know, that financial incentive, like we said, sign up to it. So it's money gone to waste if you don't come. Come down. And you are going to be so embraced by the whole community and the whole family that comes there, because it is all about finding community in a sea of individuals who started feeling awkward, feeling out of place. So I see someone's just commented, some Secret Summers is the best reason to get out of bed. Yeah, and it's almost easier to come alone actually sometimes, because then you can like really allow yourself to go to places without thinking like, oh, what does my friend of 10 years think about me pretending to be a banana pancake on the floor? You're just in it, and you know, it's kind of even easier that way. So I would say, please, 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 I know that coming along to something on your own can be really scary, but trust in yourself. Trust in yourself. If you've had that inkling, trust that, go with that, because it's going to lead to something really fantastic that obviously you're yearning for and craving and you deserve.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, you deserve it.
Yeah,
really, like, there's been also so many things I've booked and just not gone to, because I'm like I remember booking a holiday by myself to Barcelona, and I was like, just not gonna go actually. Like, because I just was like, actually that's like awkward, like never mind. Annoyingly, the financial incentive thing doesn't work anymore. I'm just like, well, we weren't going to spend the money on anything anyway. At least I'm not cocaine addict. It's fine. Like, long time during that. Like, oh, whatever, just waste money. Great.
Oh my God, I love you.
But yeah, and like I remember booking an event and just turning up and walking like past the people and then just going home. I mean, like, I'm not gonna go.
Oh no. Yeah, what sort of event was that?
It was like a mental health meetup thing. And I was like, never mind. It's all good. I got out of it. But like, that's like, because I have personally experienced and like know deep inside the rejection sensitive dysphoria that comes with like, I think especially like showing up as a human being with other human beings is quite scary and not nice. Like, it's like, easier on the internet. But it's also the most like rewarding and amazing thing, because like when we ran the ADHD retreat, everyone on it was just like, my life has been changed for the rest of my like, because to meet other human beings that are in a similar place to you, and like to hear that, like, and see them and not touch them necessarily, but to be like, oh, there are other people that like are real life people, not just on my computer screen, that exist. And like I can make friends that are not just like the people I've already got in my life or like online, but like friendship is a really difficult thing for people with ADHD, because we have object permanence and we forget they exist. But to be friends with other people that have got object permanence is great, because then you're all in the same boat. You're like, I know you missed my birthday, it's fine, like it's good. Didn't do that. Or like we're like, it's my birthday tomorrow. And they're like, thank you. Like when you're friends with other people that get it, like it just allows you to be yourself overall, find that community. And that, it's really not. I was coaching someone earlier, and they were basically talking about how they were setting up a business and they were really scared to tell anyone, but they're in a community of people that are like really tightly knit, and they were scared to tell anyone in it until it was successful. And I was like, you're so lucky. I was like, so many people in the world do not have a community of people, like, even if it's like family or anything like that, like, you know, like especially in London, like often our families don't live in London, and like it just takes an hour to meet up with a friend for coffee because you got to get 500 trains and stuff. But like, to have the opportunity to just meet other people that get you and like are not going to judge you in any way, and like I will be there, and I'm the most friendly person in the entire universe. Like, you cannot ever feel awkward with me because I magically see all people and sense it. If you're feeling awkward, and I'll come over and chat to you about the weather, or whatever it is that you want. But like, I promise that you will not feel awkward and you will have a fun time. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, you have that beautiful skill. So yeah, I'm happy you're going to be there, and yeah, so hope we have hopefully inspired some new people to come along and join us. We want to change some more lives. So thank you so much for having me, Leanne.
thank you. Thanks for doing it. How can people find out more about you, Emily, and join everything you do?
They can follow my LinkedIn page where I have all the links to things on there. So my corporate yoga agency, the Yeah Yoga Co., my online platform, The Joyful World, and then of course we've got Secret Sunrise, which all of those links on my LinkedIn. You can follow my Instagram, which is at ems.harding. Which also has all the links on. And I've Googled myself before. If you just search like Emily Harding Yoga, it all comes up. It all comes up. I think Googling yourself is a healthy thing. I love Googling people. It's fun.
It's fun. Yeah. But thank you so much, Emily. And like, yeah, I'm so excited to do this with you. And I think it would just be really amazing. Like, we had Secret Sunrise at the launch of ADHD and A to Z, and it was one of my favorite memories ever, seeing like my grandma dance with headphones on. And like, yeah, it's just so special. So I'm really excited to do this with people. And very importantly, we're going to have our new coaches that have just finished their training with us. So if you're looking for a coach, if you're on the market for an ADHD coach, or like, we'll also have coaching with me there. My first time doing coaching through headphones. But there'll be so many people there that will just, you will have endless things to talk about, and you do not need to have ADHD to come. You don't even need to care about ADHD. We have got an ADHD playlist we're creating, but it's not going to be like a sciencey, like this is the impact of your brain on your life. It would just be a fun time. So if it resonates with you, please come. I would love to hang out and would like to see you all in real life. So we will end it here. I'm always really bad at ending things, but someone said it's been a joy and they're excited for Saturday. So I'm really happy to hear that. And I expect
Yay.
You liked it, Elnels, then it was worth it. So thank you.
Beautiful. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Leanne. I'll see you on Saturday, my love.
Yeah, can't wait. Bye.
Bye.